Alright, so here's the frame assembly installment of the D-Bot Core XY 3D printer build series. Hope you enjoy the tips. Tip number 1 for assembling the frame: put the fasteners on the printed part, align them with the slot, and slide them together like the instructions show here. Oh, and don't forget your washers. Next tip: make sure you make a note of which end of the V-slot has the holes tapped in it, and make sure you have the part oriented correctly before you start assembling it. The assembly begins by completing the right-hand side of the frame with the right rear idler there, and soon we'll connect a piece with the right motor mount on it as well. Just going to take piece F here and show you really quickly how it slides on over the lined up fasteners. The grooves should just fit right over the nuts there, and part will fit right in. We'll finish up the right hand side of the frame by attaching part D with the right motor mount on it. The motor mounts are different. The right one has 2 holes underneath the small rectangle, while the left one has 1. We're going to start with the right motor mount. Some other quick tips: don't over tighten these things, you'll crack the plastic. You don't really need to over tighten them anyways when you're assembling the frame here, because you'll want to have them loose to square it up when you're done anyways. And this is what the right side of the frame looks like fully assembled. Next up, we're going to build pretty much the same thing except the left side, using the left rear idler and the left motor mount. With the left and right sides of the frame assembled now, we'll complete the general shape of the frame by putting a few more pieces of V-slot through the middle, and then we'll attach the moving bed to the frame. The 3-wheeled Z guides are a small modification from the original D-Bot's 4-wheeled Z guides. They should, in theory, make it a little bit easier to adjust the tension on the left and right sides of the Z platform and make sure everything's aligned nicely. So we'll see how this goes. We'll tilt the frame forward and test it out. I think a problem a lot of people run into with this build is difficulty with the Z-axis, getting it to move up and down smoothly over the 2 threaded rods. One problem is threaded rods that aren't straight, but probably the most common problem is having these mini V-wheels misaligned in the V-slot. So it's really important to adjust these Z guides so that your wheels are perfectly aligned with these V-slot grooves here. So the Z wheel guides are adjusted so that the 2 rear wheels are lined up perfectly into the V-slot grooves. Next, we'll line up the front wheel into the V-slot groove and tension them on evenly on the left and right sides so that the 3 wheels grip the same amount on each side. If you don't do that, you could run into problems with choppy Z movement again, so make sure you have equal tension and the V-slot wheels are perfectly lined up in the grooves. I had a problem with the M3 lock nut on the front tensioning mechanism for that lone wheel there. I had to use a soldering iron to punch the lock nut in, but just a heads up on that, you might run into it. Maybe it was just my print. Overall, the 3-wheeled Z guides seem to work really well so far, and we'll see how it pans out when we put the Z motors in. Just wanted to end this video with a special thanks to Spouta01, who wrote the D-Bot instructions and made some of the D-Bot modifications that make a D-Bot a D-Bot. So thank you, Spouta01. I hope I'm saying that okay. And if you like this video and if you found it helpful in addition to the D-Bot build guide, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notifications, and we'll see you in the next installment of the D-Bot Core XY 3D printer YouTube build series.